So check your internet. It should say. Tell me you're sitting next to me.
Page 14. Where's page 14?
This is Al.
All right. Oh, very good. Oh, sorry.
Yeah, I'm all alone here. And,
Okay. Hopefully we can exchange seats around.
and
All right.
look at
What?
who you want.
Oh my God.
This is the worst seat ever.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Hopefully your neighbor
Yeah, I
has
think
a
I'll start
friend who wants
switching
to
around
talk.
and I won't get.
All right.
Okay.
Check your ticket.
Are you serious? Can I just ask you something? Is this place because I'm actually not really that comfortable sitting here? And I was wondering if you could switch me
Because
somewhere.
like your seat is supposed to be here.
No, it's here.
Yeah. Oh.
And
Because like
here? Oh, great. Yeah, definitely. I'll take it. No worries.
yeah, I'll
No worries.
that conference thing I really fascinating.
J mana Mas Jan? Ni apa? Ni apa?
Cik kat atas.
Yeah,
Still okay.
yes, yeah, yes.
Kita akan bila macam mana dia macam apa namanya
So sorry about that. Actually, I don't see that. Hey. Yeah.
Probably just all this. Ladies and gentlemen, please be seated for the commencement of Projek Amanat Negara XII.
Ladies and gentlemen, our guest speakers are expected to arrive shortly. Please take your seats and make yourselves comfortable. Please, you will find a questionnaire inside the Projek Amanat Negara. Please fill the ushers during intermission.
In the unlikely event, fire exits are located at the back, on the left, and on the right. Kindly note that food and drinks are not permitted in the hall. To avoid any disruptions during this event, we would kindly appreciate if you we invite you at your Projek Amanat Negara 12 experience via Facebook or Instagram or Twitter, and please do not forget to hashtag PAN 2015 for the chance to win on the most retweeted to most and the most on Instagram. Ladies and gentlemen, today's event will consist of a series of talks which will conclude at 5:30 p.m. There will be a break for lunch and prayers at 1:20 p.m. and the talks will resume at 3 p.m.
This thing has to be cut short.
Ladies and gentlemen, please remain silent as Dr. Sri Nazir Razak, Chairman and Director of CIMB Group.
Professor Danny Kwok, Professor of Economics and International Development and Director of the Salisbury Hall of Southeast Asia Center at the London School of Economics and Political Science.
And Dr. Adam Preston, Lecturer in Southeast Asian Politics in the University of Leeds and former Deputy Director of the Center for International Affairs and Cooperation at University Utara Malaysia. Good morning, guests and members of the floor. I would like to take this opportunity to express our heartfelt gratitude for your presence today. First, let us introduce ourselves. My name is Sharifah Yasmin, and I am an executive in the UKEC Catalyst Office.
My name is Dixon, executive in the UKEC Careers Office. We will be your MCs for today. UKEC, the United Kingdom of Ira Council of Malaysian Students, are proud to present to you our first flagship event of the year, Projek Amanat Negara 12 2015. Projek Amanat Negara, or as we like to call it, PAN, is our annual initiative to provide a platform for intellectual discourse between leading figures in political, social, and economical fields while giving a similar opportunity to Malaysian student leaders.
The theme for this year's conference is now in its 12th installment, with varied range of speakers and thought-provoking sessions. We extend a warm welcome to join us in examining various key issues relevant to the governance, development, and strategic progress of our country today. Before we begin our program today, I would like to call upon UKEC Secretariat Executive Jalaluddin Zaiki to recite a prayer.
السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته. أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. الحمد لله رب العالمين رب العرش العظيم الملك القدوس السلام المؤمن والصلاة والسلام على سيدنا محمد وعلى آله وصحبه أجمعين. Oh Allah, we seek your gratitude in today's event by United Kingdom and Ira Council of Malaysian Students, UKEC. Grant this auspicious occasion, Thai guidance, and bless all guests who are here today with tranquility, joy, and happiness. Allahumma ya azim wa ya shakur. O Allah, show us with your blessings all day long and place us among those who are grateful upon your mercies. Allahumma ya dhal jalali wal ikram. O Allah, fill our hearts with sincerity and patience in order to achieve our goals. Let us serve others with worthy services, and may we be placed under your protection for all things that we do. Stop us from doing anything wrong and forgive us from any wrongdoings. May we be among those who will be bestowed victory in this life and the year after. Allahumma ya Hanan wa ya Manan ya Karim wa ya Diyan. We pray to thee that Malaysia be blessed with peace, prosperity, stability, and progress. May our leaders be blessed with Thai guidance. Grant your blessings and peace upon our Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, his family and companion. Sallallahu ala Sayyidina Muhammad wa ala alihi wa sahbihi wa barik wa sallim. Alhamdulillahi Rabbil Alamin.
Thank you, Jalaluddin. We now welcome Mr. Joshua Yip, Vice President of the University of Birmingham Malaysian Student Society, who will be representing the Vice Chairman of the University of Birmingham to say a few words.
A very good morning to our esteemed speakers, ladies and gentlemen. On behalf of the University of Birmingham and the Birmingham Malaysian Society, it gives me great pleasure to welcome you all to Birmingham. I trust you all had a smooth journey here, regardless of the wake up to make it here. I recognize that some may have to travel great distances to be here, so we are very grateful that you decided to grace us with your presence. We trust that your time here today will be rewarded with exciting and inspiring dialogue on our collective Malaysian hopes, aspirations, and challenges. As the second largest city in the UK, Birmingham is vibrant and it's also dynamic. For those staying overnight, I suggest checking out Cadbury World, only 2 on Earth, or Winterbourne House and Gardens, for those of you interested in Edwardian architecture. Or maybe just take a stroll down one of our many canals on a crisp Sunday morning. For those of you who may not have the touring Birmingham, the university itself is of historic and cultural importance. The Barber Institute of Fine Arts, which is 2 minutes down the road, houses great works of art from Van Gogh and Picasso. In fact, the concert hall that you are now in at the moment is the most flexible performance space at any UK university. And the building next door, which houses the Great Hall, was a World War I hospital that treated 125,000 patients and also hosted the first ever prime ministerial debates. We are also so proud to announce that the clock tower that you all had to walk past today is the tallest freestanding clock tower in the world. And was the inspiration for the stone tower of in Lord of the Rings and the clock tower in Monsters University. Just a slightly bit more special than the BT Tower for those of you from London. Slightly. Though the university's buildings may be amazing, it really is the students that make it so special. And today we would like to welcome all of you to be a part of our student family for just a brief moment. Learn, be inspired, and be stirred in an environment purpose-built for the dissemination of knowledge and information. We would like to thank UKC for choosing us, Birmingham, to host Projek Amanat Negara, and we would like to thank you all, without which this conference will not be successful, for the opportunity to serve. Welcome to the University of Birmingham, and welcome to our family. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Joshua. I would like to announce the arrival of our honorable guest, Associate Professor Dr. Mohad Anizul Haji Muhammad Noor, Director of Education Malaysia, United Kingdom and Ireland. Please give a round of applause.
Without further delay, I would like to call upon Mr. Ryan Chua, the Director of PAN 12 2015, and the Vice Chairman of the UKAC Catalyst, to give his welcoming speech.
Associate Professor Dr. Mohad Anizul, Director of Education Malaysia, UK and Ireland. Distinguished guests, fellow peers, and dear friends. A very good morning to all of you here today in the magnificent Alga Concert Hall. Before I proceed any further, let me first convey my messages of gratitude and thanks to all those who have made today possible. First of all, I'd like to thank our sponsors, CIMB, PwC, Maxis, Accenture, ICAW, and Grad 1. Without them, there wouldn't be Project Amanat Negara. Without them, there wouldn't be UKC. Secondly, I'd like to thank all our esteemed speakers who have been very kind enough to spend their time and effort to come here. I think I speak on behalf of everyone in UKC that we are extremely humbled and honored that you have decided to be here today with our students. I would also like to take this opportunity to thank my colleagues in the UKC Executive Council. From the chairman to every executive within this great organization, all of them stood by me when I made mistakes and helped me so much when I needed them. Thank you all. I would also like to wish my sincerest gratitude to the host of this year's Project Amanat Negara, the University of Birmingham, Malaysian students. They have put in so much effort, endeavor, and hard work in ensuring Project Amanat Negara goes to plan in the dynamic city. On behalf of UKC, grateful to have had their commitment and support in working together in organizing Project Amanat Negara. At the same time, I'd also like to record our thanks to the University of Birmingham and Venue Birmingham for allowing us to use this majestic hall and providing us with so much assistance. Thank you. And of course, Project Amanat Negara would definitely not have happened without all of you here in attendance here today. Some of you have come from as far as Cardiff, Dublin, and Edinburgh to be here today. Thank you all for making the time on a Saturday morning to travel here for this event. Your dedication to be here today shows that there is hope for Malaysia. Ladies and gentlemen, leaders and future leaders, Project Amanat Negara is made by UKEC for all of you. As the umbrella body for Malaysian student organizations in the UK and Ireland, we owe a duty to each and every one of you to ensure the betterment of students like you, to be the catalyst in molding you into our future leaders of tomorrow. This year's 12th installment of PAN, and the theme is a building of brand new perspective. This year, we seek to present a new brand of engagement and discourse that centers on articulation, facts, and statistics. We want to encourage intellectual debates that focus on finding a solution to the problems that Malaysia faces today. When you leave this hall, I hope that all of you will have left knowing more, understanding more, and most importantly, asking more. Don't readily accept or take the words of our speakers for granted. Think about them, challenge them, make a difference for our country, Malaysia. Thank you. Hope you all enjoyed Project Amanat Negara here today.
Thank you, Mr. Ryan Shaw. For the next order of business, I would like to welcome Mr. Mikhail Rose, our beloved chairman of UKEC, to give his chairman's address.
Assalamualaikum and salam sejahtera. I have a profound fear of speaking in public. And to anticipate for this fear, I wrote a speech, which I left downstairs. And now I'm here perfectly. And I hope to speak from the heart and apologize for when my voice cracks, because that's my heart beating into my. I just want to thank everyone for being here. I want to thank Prof. Anizu, the Director of Education Malaysia. I want to thank delegations from the Malaysian High Commission for coming and gracing us with their presence here today. But I really like to thank you guys for being here. I realize that if you're not from West Midlands, it is really hard to get here. You guys have to wake up at 7. Yeah. Well, there are moments where I struggle to wake up in the morning. So I thank you again for being here on time. For those who don't know us, we are the United Kingdom and our Council of Malaysian Students. They're known as UKC. UKC is an umbrella body representing all the nations, societies, over 90 of them. And we exist as a platform for nation building. Project Negara is one of such platforms. It's a platform for us to discuss away from the political heat of Malaysia. The political heat of Malaysia. Sorry, that's my heart. And for me, these kind of events are important. It fosters a culture in us, an intellectual culture. Intellectualism is often the road less traveled. And we often see those who travel in trade old prejudices for new ones. So it's very important for us to engage in these kind of conversations and find justifications for the things that we believe. So with that, I hope you guys enjoy this year's series. We've worked really hard on it. Ryan's worked really hard on it. And you guys have worked really hard getting here, coming, and that's all for me.
Thank you, Mr. Mikhail Rusli. It is now our pleasure to welcome Associate Professor Dr. Mohad Anizul Haji Muhammad Noor, Director of Education Malaysia, United Kingdom and Ireland, to deliver his officiating address.
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Alhamdulillahi Rabbil Alamin. Wassalatu wassalamu ala ashrafil anbiya'i wal mursalin. Sayyidina Muhammadin wa ala alihi wa sahbihi ajma'in. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi ta'ala wabarakatuh. And salam satu Malaysia. Thank you, Mr. and Mrs. Chairman. First and foremost, let us extend our gratitude to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. As with His grace and mercy, we are given this great opportunity to come here today to join, to attend Project Amanat Negara 2015. Mr. Mikhail Rusli, Chairman of UKC 2014, and all committee members. Ryan Chua Wei Kun, Director of Project Amanat Negara 2015, and also committee members. Officers from Education Malaysia and High Commission of Malaysia, London. All speakers, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen. Before I begin, I would like to relay His Excellency Dato' Ahmad Rasidi Azizi's apologies for unfortunately is unable to join us today because now he is currently in Mecca, his Umrah. So he sends his best regards to everyone here today and hopes that Project Amanat Negara will be a great successful. I'm also, on behalf of High Commission of Malaysia, I would like to thank the organizing committee for inviting me on behalf of High Commissioner of Malaysia to come and join this Project Amanat Negara, because as we know, Project Amanat Negara will be the biggest event, I think among the biggest event organized by UKC. So congratulations, Ayan and also Mikhail, for having this great opportunity, because I think you can see a lot of Malaysian students here. So that, I think it's very good for us to come here to maybe to talk to you about any issues. Even today we have Cik Zaki from DPA. If any DPA scholars here, can you raise up your hand? Is any DPA scholars here? Okay, you can see Cik Zaki. Maybe not we can discuss Mr. Zaki. Also we have Cik Adri from Prime Minister Department, Research Division at High Commission of Malaysia, London. Also, Cik Azili, Education Attaché in Dublin, for students who are studying in an island, also Northern Ireland. Maybe you all know Mr. Azili. Okay, and actually I'm very pleasure and a great honor to be here today because as I said, this will be the biggest event organized by UKC every year. I think this PAN is very successful event. So ladies and gentlemen, it's really neat to see how we are starting off our 2015 with such an event that promotes intellectual discourse amongst nation students. So knowing the country are convening to further enlighten themselves from the current leaders and in their respective fields, we feel contented that hope is there for our nation continual improvement. Because I think now, as I think you are know that we are going to have our Datuk Sri Azalina, Datuk Sri Nazir Razak, Professor Kwa is among among the famous name in Malaysia. So I think maybe we can share something with them today. 2020 as a full developed country. So despite the unfortunate events that have hit upon us, we should not let that distract us from paving the way towards vision to 2020. If anything, we should properly equip ourselves to undertake the challenge that lie in the way forward. I understand that this year's theme is new, and it is such a fitting theme to be discussed by the youth of Malaysia. The fate of this young nation is in your hands, and your perspective of the country are a significant factor in carving the pathway towards a Malaysia which you desire this to be. Together, let us pave a new perspective to see a better in the I'm sorry, I forgot to introduce. Also, we have here Mr. Taufik, Education Attaché for Midland Office in Manchester, who covered, I think, East Midland up to Scotland. So anybody from this Midland area can see Mr. Taufik after this to ask something. Okay, so before speech, I would like to congratulate once again UKC on a job well done in planning and executing Amanat Negara. I would like to applaud them for giving students this opportunity national discussion. And I would like to thank them for adding this their fellow peers in this for the more important than now to let the youth know of the powers and responsibilities that lie with them. That now is the time for them to stand up, be counted and form a brand new perspective of Malaysia. So once again, on behalf of High Commission of Malaysia, I would like to welcome all of you to PAN 2015. Also, once again, congratulations to UKC, especially to Mikai and Ryan for giving a lot of time to make sure that this event will be a successful one. So, with that, I end my Assalamualaikum and very good morning.
Thank you, Professor. It is a pleasure to have you here with us today. To present Dr. Mohad Anizu with a token of appreciation, I would like to call upon Mr. Amanat, who is representing the university.
We would also like to now invite Professor to officiate PAN 2015. Thank you, Dr. Mohan and Mr. Ahmad. With that, we are excited to announce the official commencement of Project Amanat Negara 2015. Our first session will begin with a look into ASEAN economic convergence. With that, it is my great pleasure to welcome our first speakers, Datuk Sri Nazir Razak, Chairman of CIMB Group, and Professor Danny Kwa, Professor of Economics and International Development and Director of XII Southeast Asia Center at the London School of Economics and Political Science.
Our first session will be moderated by Ms. Marlena Razali, a second-year Economics and Business with Eastern European Studies student from the University College London, who is also the Director of Strategies of UKEC. Marlena, the stage is all yours.
Our apologies. Our speakers is currently in the toilet for a while, so please do give us some time.
We would like to remind you about the competition that we are hosting. The most retweeted tweet about Pine 2015 and the most liked Instagram picture will win you an iPod Shuffle.
In both categories, so please do submit in both social media. Ladies and gentlemen, UK Project House on the ground floor conference had booths on the first floor outside Alga Concert Hall. We're promoting about the CV Drive 2015, while Project House will be promoting about their volunteer movement recruitment drive. UKEC Charisma will be promoting about their annual program, while Warwick ASEAN Conference will be promoting about the conference itself. We invite you to browse the booths during intermission at lunchtime at the foyer right outside. Thank you.
Again, it is our great pleasure to welcome our first speakers, Dr. Sri Nazir Razak, Chairman of CIMB Group, and Professor Danny Kwa, Professor of Economics and International Development and Director of the XII Southeast Asian School of Economics and Political Science.
As mentioned, first session will be moderated by Ms. Malina Razali. Malina, the stage is all yours.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Malina Razali, and strategies at UKEC. I am honored to be the moderator for the first session of the day, the Corporate Forum on Malaysia's Role in the ASEAN Integration 2015. The ASEAN Economic Community, AEC, aspires to create a single integrated market and production base with a free flow of goods, services, investments, capital, and skilled labor by 2020. As one of the 5 founding members of ASEAN, many eyes will be on Malaysia to see what role they play as they assume the position as ASEAN chair this year, where the ASEAN Integration 2015 will take place. While this integration is expected to level the playing field among industries in the region, should Malaysian firms brace for intense competition with their ASEAN counterparts. Today, implemented 88% of regulatory and economic measures needed to execute the AEC. However, will Malaysia fully follow through and avert actual institutional reforms to fulfill AEC's future goals and promises? With that, we would like to tap the minds of our esteemed speakers, Dato' Sri Nazir Razak and Professor Danny Kwok. Dato' Sri Nazir Razak is currently the chairman, non-independent, non-executive director of CIMB Group. He in 19 of CIMB Investment Bank. Group Chief Executive of CIMB Group in 2006 before stepping down in 2014 to assume his current position. Dato' Sri Nazir spearheaded CIMB's transformation from a Malaysian investment bank to a regional universal bank and has been recognized as Malaysia's top executives on many occasions. And in 2008, he was voted as the second best CEO in Asia. Danny Kwok is Professor of Economics and International Development and Director of the Saw Swee Hock Southeast Asia Center at London School of Economics and Political Science, and Tan Chin Tuan Visiting Professor at the University of Singapore. His work concerns the shifting global economy and the rise of the East. Additionally, he is known also for his research on estimation techniques for disentangling the effects on economies and convergence across nation states. So the first question, with the economic disparity between the richer and poorer nations, as well as the complexity of the political situations within us, how will this impact the integration process? Anybody would like to start?
Okay, I'll give it a go. Assalamualaikum and good morning. Thank you for having me here. Essentially, I think let's be clear on what is the AEC. And there's a gap, essentially, between what was articulated in the 2007 Charter versus, I think, what we will get when we launched the AEC at the end of 2015. Single production base, common market, free movement of goods and services, free movement of capital, free movement of skilled labor. The reality is what you're going to get at the end of the year is a free trade area, which we've been working on since 1992. I think that 99.9% of goods will move freely. But beyond that, AEC will be a bunch of initiatives that are still very much working for. And the barriers, the non-trade between economies and countries extremely high. Soon, I think ASEAN 80 is promised. Short a lot, and more will be achieved over the next few years, and hopefully eventually the AEC, as per described, sometime in the future. So we must set our right. Second point to make, this is not about an economic union. It is not about a monetary union. It never has been. Diverse. We live in very different stage of development, and so on and so forth. So for many reasons, there was never the idea that we would convert as one economic union, and so on. It's our own version of economic integration, and it's a very practical one where we want to do more business, we want to create value, we want to help 600 million people. So if you then take that, then you go into this way, which is a very different way of doing things. And this way is a way of doing things by consensus, not upsetting one another, not dealing with hard issues, and so on and so forth. So it makes things very, very slow. And that's part of the reason why you're not going to get what some people still expect with the AC at the end of this year. But nevertheless, all studies show that economic integration will be positive. I think all studies show that all countries will benefit. Some countries will benefit more than others. Within countries, some people will win, some people will lose. And therein lies a little bit of the danger of economic integration. Not everybody wins. People have to make adjustments. People have to prepare. But overall, if you look at it in the bigger context, none of the ASEAN countries are big enough to really survive on their own in the new world order of very, very large economies. The world of China, India, Europe, and so on and so forth. We have to have scale like big people. You'll be neglected and marginalized. So that's my opening gambit. And maybe Danny, call one.
If I may. Good morning, everyone. Our moderator, Marlena, was kind enough to refer, among other things I do at LSE is I direct the Southeast Asia Center there. What some of you might know, but many might not, is that our Southeast Asia Center just had its inaugural event last Wednesday, at which Dr. Nazir gave the very first public lecture on the topic of ASEAN. So I happen to have brought with me all of the notes that I made when he gave that lecture, and I try to add to that as a technical economist in some dimensions. But to kick off in terms of the question that was posed, ASEAN today remains a hugely diverse place. Knowing that diversity, it is staggering. Vietnam today, when you look at factory labor in Vietnam, you add together all the diversity across the different members of ASEAN are both a boon and an obstacle. Diversity and disparity, those are the things that make economics work so well. Diversity, by constructing a common network production base, you get to leverage all the different strengths across ASEAN. That makes ASEAN as a whole much more than the sum of its parts. It is the common public good that will benefit everyone in ASEAN. That's the boon. The obstacle is that, as Dr. Srinazia has already referred to, different parts of ASEAN benefit differentially. Those who have the absorptive capacity to leverage this express activity, explosion will almost surely emerge from ever greater integration. Those are the ones that will benefit much, much more proportionally. So we're looking out at a world where almost surely we will see Singapore's in ASEAN benefit much more than the Vietnams in ASEAN. And while everyone benefits, the fact that there's differential advantage to be gained gives rise to an international political problem. To the extent that this is a danger, that Marlena has referred to how this might be an obstacle to ever greater integration. It is something that we as members of ASEAN and in our conversation with the political leaders in our different member states need to be constantly emphasizing. There is a greater good out there, ASEAN integration, and we must not be hobbled by envy, perceptions of disparity, suspicion across ASEAN. The problem is precisely because ASEAN, different parts of ASEAN are at such different stages of development, that suspicion and that envy will inevitably be there. So we've got a problem that we need to solve. We've got a problem in terms of understanding the benefits of ASEAN, and we need to communicate that better to our different communities back home.
Following on to your point, so the Malaysia's Minister of International Trade and Industries mentioned that ASEAN will declare themselves as an ASEAN economic community despite not reaching complete integration or harmonization. Could you elaborate, in your opinion, what this actually means?
I think that statement came immediately, more or less, after our roundtable in Davos, where basically we told him that to call it what it is. It's better to set expectations right. I don't think there's an official statement per se. ASEAN Secretariat has not spoken, but I think it's good that Mr. Mustafa has said it very clearly that it ain't going to be what was originally promised.
Could you repeat that statement?
Malaysia's Minister of International Trade and Industries mentioned that ASEAN will declare themselves as an AEC despite not reaching complete integration and harmonization.
Okay. I think it's very good that they do that, to declare victory and move on. To suggest that you will get complete integration, I think is a goal that's definitely not achievable. The European Union has, for the last 50 years, been seeking ever greater integration. And as we see in the debris that surrounds us, following what the European Union tried to do first with the monetary union, and then with the debt crisis that we've gone through for the last 7-10 years now, with the very real possibility that different chunks of the union will split apart. These things need to be done gradually. It comes from a rewiring of the DNA of what people think. And it is right and proper that we set milestones along the way. And when the milestone gets to that certain time point, declare victory, have a little nasi lemak celebration, and then move on to the next stage of the development. I think getting hung up on ticking off every box, making sure that every KPI has been met, is a sure way for disappointment and dour mood all around. So it is right that we go on. But having said that, this process of declaring victory and moving on is not a cynical act of hypocrisy. We have achieved a lot. There are basically, everyone acknowledges that there are zero tariffs now, pretty much, across all of this, multi-hundred million people region. The reality, of course, that everyone also knows is that non-tariff barriers remain significant. My co-panelist, Dr. Sri Nazir, has had to deal with that every single day with CIMB's plans throughout the region. Those are very real, but those are invisible, and those will take a lot more work than simply checking off a list. It's good to move on.
This question is directed to Dr. Sri Nazir, but also if Professor, you could also give your opinion on this. Dr. Sri was recently quoted in the Star. Soundly advised, well-resourced secretariat could work with governments in balancing the competing interests of sovereign rights and ASEAN benefits to develop a centralized pan-Asian financial policy. With standardized regulations and controls, it will go a long way towards a truly unified banking industry across ASEAN. Can you elaborate on this, and how can this be implemented effectively, given that the nation's central bank may want to adopt a different monetary policy?
Okay, I think let me deal with it on a broader scale, which is something that we are campaigning for, which is this: that today, in 2015, we're talking about the ASEAN Economic Community. In 2015, the ASEAN Secretariat looks what it did, like what it did 15 years ago. 100 staff, annual budget of $17 million US, right? Compared to the EU, which has 30,000 staff and an annual budget of 180 billion US dollars. Okay, ASEAN Secretariat today is a joke. Let's be very clear on that. And how are you going to then have, with that kind of size, the capability to help progress many of the initiatives relating to the ASEAN Economic Community? If you look at the range of things that we want to do, we're talking about the connectivity master plan, the banking master plan, the capital markets master plan, etc. There's a lot of things to do, right? But actually, what they've done is they've actually instead created committees of ministers, and then after that, there's no follow through. So what we're campaigning for, and when I say we, I mean the ASEAN Business Club, which is a club that I set up a few years ago, consisting of leading corporate leaders from ASEAN as a whole. We're saying that look, we need to centralize the various initiatives. Now, we're not specific. Should those bodies be part of the secretariat, or should it be set up and funded separately? We don't really care. But the point is, there needs to be an impartial body to kind of help push through the initiatives. Today, if the Malaysian minister suggests an idea, I can tell you immediately Singapore will wonder what Malaysia really wants out of this. There's so much suspicion between them. And then Lao will think, hey, this thing is going to roll me over, and so on and so on. So what you need is an impartial body to kind of say, okay, yes, Malaysia suggested that, and this is the reasons why it's good for Singapore, it's good for Laos, it's good for ASEAN as a whole. And then to follow through. This is absolutely imperative if we're going to get really serious about ASEAN economic integration. Yes, I agree. Every step of integration, you must take a step back and make sure that it is good for the region and good for the country. And the EU is always there for us to learn what not to do. It's always there. It's okay. We're sure. But then don't get scared about, say, banking integration. What I mean by banking integration, there's so much value to be provided, to be given to banks by virtue of specific initiatives, right? We don't need to basically have a ASEAN central bank. We don't need to go there. All we need to do in banking, for instance, is just be specific, say, clear up this whole issue of movement of information. Today, we have banks in Indonesia, Singapore, Thailand, and so on and so forth. I want my centralized credit department to be in Singapore, because Singapore was very strict, right? So my centralized credit department is in Singapore, but that department cannot evaluate information on companies in Thailand and Indonesia because there are rules about movement of information. So it's a simple thing, right? Get ASEAN to say that ASEAN banks can allow movement of information between markets, and you create value. Banks like CIMB just become more efficient. And then movement of talent. Today, there's a lot of restriction. I try and run one company across ASEAN, and then if you move up the ladder in CIMB, suddenly that requires you to, say, move to Jakarta, because that's where the post is. But you can't go because there's all these rules about movement of skilled labor beyond a certain level. You cannot move to Indonesia. So these are the kind of little issues on their own that can create value already. Now, if you want to go further than that in terms of branches, in terms of regulation, all that, you can. But let's do the basic baby steps, because there's a lot of value in the baby steps.
can I add to what Dr. Sri said and draw out some of the contradictions that he's pointing out? It begins here as well as in his in a comparison between Ontario and what, say, the counterparty that the European Commission here does. And to emphasize the power of the numbers that he's just cited, the numbers that he tells you means that the European Commission employs 800 times the number of people that ASEAN Secretariat does. And its budget is 10,000 times that of the ASEAN Secretariat. And you might say, well, yeah, that's okay, but that's because the European Union hated object. Well, let's think about that for a second. The European Union has 507 million people. Us 103 million. Yes, the European Union is richer 9,000 times, but by 6 times. The European Commission does with its 800 times more people, 10,000 times bigger budget, is that it undertakes executive and legislative function, which we would like to see happen in ASEAN on the business dimension, but which we would be very uneasy about if we felt that it was making decisions